Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to another show of Feast of Films Theatre. Today, starring Matthew Black and Ethan R. Hill. There, that's the intro.
Oh, yeah. Classic. Classic. What's going on, my fellow movie fans? Welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films. This is part 2 of episode 19, where we're looking at the best films of 2010. I'm your host, Matt Black, and along with me is... Chirp, 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 chirp. He's here. He's just being full of shit.
No, I'm totally not here. What you're hearing is the ghost of Ethan.
We're joined this special episode by the ghost of Ethan, not on the Halloween special, even though that would have made more sense. But
I'm the ghost of Ethan past.
Two episodes after.
It's like a Christmas Carol, but less good.
So am I Scrooge, or what's the story here?
Yes, you are Scrooge because you didn't give me that day off that I asked for.
Damn it! I knew I should have done that. No
And
turkey for you.
Where's my raise and where's my... You know how long it's actually been since I've had a turkey dinner?
About as long as it's been. No, that's not true. I guess I did have one at what event did we just pass? Thanksgiving?
Yep.
Not too long ago? Yeah, I had some at Thanksgiving.
I think it's been maybe a year. Maybe a year or two.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
It's been about a year since the turkey dinner.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it
Turkey
happens.
dinners are pretty great.
I don't know how to cook turkey, so like I really I should learn, and I'm down for it, but I just
and then like test it on your buds.
Well, it's
your roommates.
Who else would I cook for?
Just the whole turkey for himself. He's like, oh boy, guys, here we go.
Like you're saying this like it's a bad idea. Like that's a great idea.
No, then you'll have turkey forever, man. It'd be great.
Yeah, and like
turkey
I can make like
stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy.
I can make like turkey sandwiches.
Buns. Oh man, yeah, leftover turkey sandwiches. Damn.
Cream of turkey, really good.
Nice turkey soup.
Mm-hmm. Like So again, cooking a whole turkey for myself does not sound like a bad idea. It's just expensive.
It would be, and you'd have to store it. And
well, because like there's, I mean, like there's always an option of like I could try cooking a chicken first,
just to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's like start small, work your way up.
Maybe try one of those.
Squab.
Try one of those like what are they, like prairie hens or something? Those like really small ones. I don't remember what they're called there. Pot hens? What are they called? Those like tiny ones? They're chickens, but they're like tiny.
Cornish game hens?
Cornish hens. Yeah. Just start with one of those and see how it goes. Go from there. And then move up to like the co-op rotisserie size, and then, bigger chicken than like turkey.
I've always wanted to try duck. But also it's really weird. And I don't know why, but like recently, like yesterday, I was walking around because I've recently gotten into Pokemon Go of all things.
Actually, they've just like announced like their highest profit since like the first year they started.
No problem.
They've been doing well. So you're probably not the only one.
But like I was walking around and I caught a Psyduck, and then I had an actual legitimate thought, and I'm still processing it. I'm like,
should
ducks...
I eat it?
No. Are ducks my favorite animal?
I don't know. Are they? That's a strange favorite animal.
I know, but they might be. Because like I've always I liked owls. They were my favorite animal for a while growing up. Then like the walrus was.
Birds, eh? Oh, okay.
The walrus was. And,
he says walrus. Like
sharks were too. Like there's always like been favorites. But when I think about the one that's been consistent and like I always just enjoy the design of them, it's ducks. Because you got like the Mighty Ducks. They were like my favorite hockey team forever. Then they had the killer movies and the cartoons.
Cartoons were pretty dope.
You got Daffy Duck and Donald Duck. I've always enjoyed Psyduck and Golduck from
Pokemon.
Yeah, and like I've just like I was genuinely thinking of it, and I think like ducks might actually be my favorite animal, which is just weird because I don't know a lot about ducks. All those other animals that I listed, like when I grew up and I had these favorite animals, I would always learn everything I could. Like I learned so much about every different type of owl, different species, what they did, like so much. Same thing with walruses. I learned all about them. Same thing with sharks. Everything about them. Ducks, I've learned nothing. I only know about them in a fictional capacity. But like, but yeah, like I think they might be my favorite animal, and I don't know why, and I don't know why I just realized this when I
Oh
like
man.
29-year-old walking around playing Pokemon Go, and just the thought of like,
Wait a minute.
do I like ducks?
Are
Do I like
ducks
ducks?
my
Oh my
favorite?
gosh, I think I like ducks.
Just a revelation.
The most pointless
Oh my
revelation you
god.
could have. But like I
Middle of a
think
pandemic, you're like, do I like ducks?
yeah, and it was just because I like a Psyduck popped up and I was just super excited about it. I'm like, oh, one
Yeah.
step closer to getting a gold duck.
Yeah.
And it's like, but why does that excite me? Why? Out of any other thing, why is that I don't have any I don't have any like duck memorabilia around. I have like a Goofy stuffy and a Mickey stuffy, but I don't have a Donald Duck stuffy.
Yeah.
Like
You
like
you you are an odd duck. That's what it comes
like
down to.
that could be it.
Oh
Maybe
man, you're just like,
that's
wait a
why.
minute, am I a duck?
Quack,
And the
quack, quack, quack,
and
quack.
and down the hole we go. Anyway, welcome to a feast of films where we talk about movies and Ethan being a duck. We're not
Hey,
sure
everything that
where
I
that came
mentioned
from, but
when I
wait, you
mentioned,
did mention shows, yeah.
yep,
Fictional ducks, yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you half a point because some of the ducks were real, actual ducks.
I did
You
not
also
mention a
talked about
real duck.
walruses and owls, so I will give you half a point.
There are fictional walruses and owls, and I can bring those up too if you want.
No, that's okay. I think we best just
And
be
sharks, street sharks.
moving
There's a whole
along.
cartoon.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
I did not. I never forget about street
Wow.
sharks.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
There was a
Well,
walrus in Alice in Wonderland. To tie it back to Disney from last week. Um,
uh,
I am the walrus, cuckoo, cuckoo. Um, that's still a song I've never really listened to. Then I'm sorry, I'm doing this so I can prove a point to you, and you can't fight me on bringing up animals randomly. Ooh, specifically owls. There's an owl in Winnie the Pooh.
okay, you get half a point.
I
Just
should
because
get I should get at least
you get
75%.
3/4 of a point because I'm feeling generous today.
And you're tired and want to move on so we can talk
Like,
about things and you can go to
I
bed.
gotta go to sleep, and he's like, "Let me tell you about these animated walruses and shit." I'm like, God damn it, did that? Just kidding.
Sorry that I'm talking
I
about
love talking
actual
about
provocative
animated.
questions.
These are life changing questions, man. I'm figuring out if I love ducks. Like, come on. Okay, I support you in your quest, Ethan. I apologize. I have
Don't
been
worry.
unsupportive and unkind to your epiphany, and
It'll take
I
me
am
29 years to
sorry.
figure it out.
And I will support you in those 29 years, man. However long it takes, we will figure out if ducks are your favorite animal. But for tonight, we're gonna move on into we got our best films of 2010, my picks coming up. We got a surprise question of the day from Ethan, and just a reminder, you can find the podcast on other apps as well. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you don't have to just watch on YouTube. You can actually listen to it on the go. You don't have to have a video open. You can just listen to it. We're also on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast app. Just type in our name, A Feast of Films, and look for our beautiful animated faces, and you should find us. And if you don't, try a different app because we're almost everywhere and maybe nowhere at the same time. So, to kick us off, other than our animated animal discussion, I have a question for you. Have
Yes.
you watched anything recently that is like you haven't watched for a long time and you just like recently rewatched it? Like,
Like define a long
does it
time.
like you like vaguely like your childhood or something? Like it's at least been I would say, what are we, 20? I would say at least like 18 or 16 years or something like that.
Oh,
Right?
I
Like it's been a long time and you've recently rewatched it. And I have a question. Does it hold up or not? Have you seen, what films have you watched? Any like that recently?
Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, yeah.
I just watched and like honestly the answer is it does not hold up.
To your childhood
Um,
memories?
Well, I didn't watch it that much. Like I thought I did, but I really didn't because like a lot of it was happening. I'm like, this is a bizarre movie. This
Yeah.
is weird. This is kind of crazy. Actually, no. Oh, the other ones I've been watching too. I recently picked up a very small box set at work of Flintstones movies and TV specials.
Okay, nice,
And like I
nice.
used to watch those like on I still have them on a VHS tape somewhere. And like one of
Flintstones
those
is
were like
pretty great. I feel like that's got to hold up. That's Hanna Barbera.
it it does in a weird way. It's the same way that gosh, I don't know how to make I was gonna say Looney Tunes, but like no Looney Tunes. Anytime I watch, I'm enthralled. But it's good. Flintstones hold up in the same way that it's like a good background thing to watch.
Okay.
You're not enthralled and you're not watching it. Like you're not paying attention, being like, oh, I'm listening to every single line of dialogue. I'm paying attention to every story. But you can tune in when you're watching it. Like I can tune in and I'm not missing anything.
Hmm.
And like it to me, it holds up because that's what I remember about it. I just remember Fred and Barney getting into shenanigans. Like it's actually like one of the one Christmas movies I rewatch all the time is their Christmas Carol one where like Fred plays like they're the Bedrock citizens are putting on a performance of a Christmas Carol.
Right,
Like
right.
it's such a well done version of that. But the one I
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah. I got, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
the one I really remember that I just watched for the first time in years was the it's called Ayaba Dabba Doo, and
Mm-hmm.
it's Pebbles and Bam Bam get married.
Huh. I don't think I've seen
And
that one.
yeah, no, it holds up, man. Like it holds up really, really well. So that's another one. Like I think they hold up. I can't. I was gonna say Scooby Doo, but like I've been actually no. Oh goodness, yeah, you sent me on a tangent, Matt. I'm so sorry.
No
Um,
worries. Keep going, man. That's why I ask questions.
Scooby Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. I haven't watched in years. I don't know if it was like 16 years or something like that. I don't think so. I want to say it came out within. No, it's been a while. Either way, I've watched the first one several times
Mm-hmm.
since it, like honestly within probably the last like few years. Probably it's been quite a while since I watched the second one, and honestly, the second movie holds up. I'd say almost as good, if not better than the first one. Like
Right.
it's bizarre and still the same kind of thing, but it's just like it's pure Scooby Doo, and
Just
it's
a little bit
ridiculous,
better.
and I love it. Like I think it's super funny. I think the cast is great. The jokes in it are hilarious. Like it held up a lot better than I thought it would.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was gonna be just a really dumb movie. I thought it was just gonna be like, okay, it's not as good as the like, and it's
Yeah.
weird. The first Scooby Doo movie feels like a summer movie because
Right.
it takes place on the island, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This one felt like a Halloween movie. We actually watched it on Halloween night, and like it felt Halloweeny. Like it was kind of perfect. You got Scooby Doo for different parts of the season. But like honestly, genuinely aside from the more recent Scooby Doo stuff, and the only recent thing I've watched was the movie Scoob, which by all accounts and purposes I've heard from any other Scooby Doo fan is a bad Scooby Doo movie. Scooby Doo is always just good. Like it's so hard to mess it up, and they did, and like I'm still upset about that. Like I'm gonna be upset about that for a very, 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 very long time because like that's just it. It was not a good movie, and I don't know how they messed it up because it shouldn't be that hard to pull off Scooby Doo.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm reading a book currently, which is kind of like I have a whole side rant about, which I won't get into on this because we're not talking about books, we're talking about movies. But it's basically like if Scooby Doo happened in the Lovecraft universe, but like it's like someone who knows kind of what Scooby Doo is and knows kind of what H.P. Lovecraft is, and then just wrote a book that isn't great. But
That isn't great.
I used one of my credits on Audible. I am gonna finish this book, and hopefully it's good at the end. And it just,
Well, I think you were talking about that like what, a week, 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. A
I
couple
might
weeks
have
back,
mentioned
you were
it,
talking
but
about it,
like,
and I think we were talking about Scooby Doo too. And like, I don't exactly remember what I said, but I think there have been like bad iterations of Scooby Doo. Like, I like it's great, and I love like the classic Scooby Doo, but there's definitely been some that have not been great.
and I honestly I have trouble thinking like there's a couple that have been like even the ones that are a little lackluster are still good. Like if that makes sense, like they're still Scooby Doo at least. They're just kind of like okay, all right, it's Scooby Doo, but like, okay, guys, you could do better.
Mm-hmm.
But like, then there's Scoob, which is just like, I'm gonna take this poop. I'm gonna poop all over Scooby Doo and call it Scooby Doo, but it's still covered in poop.
But it's still covered, eh?
Like it's because it's not Scooby Doo. Like they tried too hard to make it Scooby Doo, and in trying so hard to make it Scooby Doo, they
They
made
made
it
it not Scooby Doo.
well because they made it a generic kids films with Scooby Doo characters in it, and like that's great. That's what I want in Scooby Doo. That's what I want. I want
Generic.
I want generic
Yeah, I
kid.
want generic. That's what I go see Scooby Doo for. Get my generic fill on here.
Yep, and it just yeah. But like honestly, a lot of things I've revisited from my childhood, because I do that on a regular basis. Like I really do. I very much rewatch things from when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and they do hold up. But I think I can't tell if that's like because they're good or because they just hold us.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, another one I watched not recently. I watched it over the pandemic or just when we were going back from it. And it's called Cats Don't Dance. Have you ever seen Cats Don't Dance?
Doesn't sound familiar.
It's about a cat who wants to be a Broadway star, but cats and animals aren't allowed to be Broadway stars.
Because cats don't dance.
Basically. But then cats do dance.
Oh, what a twist.
Sorry, I was opening a toffee there for people. I don't want to re-say all that, so we're gonna keep that in. I was opening a toffee because for some reason, right now seems like a good time to eat a toffee, just as I'm about to talk about things.
You know what goes great on podcasts? Toffee.
Hey, it's better than popcorn, maybe.
No, because toffee makes you more talk a little bit more like that.
Look, I'll set it aside. I'll set it aside, and I'll eat it when you're talking because we can edit around that. But for anyone hearing that crinkling over what I was talking about, Cats Don't Dance, it was a toffee because I should not have snacks readily and accessible to me
Oh my god.
at any time because I'll just eat them.
That's so great.
But my main point at the end of the day is Cats Don't Dance did not hold up. It was entertaining to watch, and I would gladly show it to a child. But like, yeah, and I want to say the same would probably happen. The other one I need to watch is Quest for Camelot, because that one is fun, but I also feel like it's going to be another one that doesn't quite hold up. But like for the most part, most movies I revisit are Disney movies, right?
Right.
And
so
those ones do.
Usually got the quality there.
One that I really want to rewatch, but I rewatch it pretty frequently, is the animated Lord of the Rings, and I don't know if I could consider that a kid's movie because it's pretty violent and kind of scary.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Never did see that.
It's good. It's weird, but it's good, and it doesn't. There's no end to it. They end it at the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They never finished the last one.
They were gonna make 2 movies.
Oh.
And then
never did.
They pulled the funding on it.
Yeah.
So then Rankin Bass. So it's there is a Return to the King movie, but the animation style is completely different because oh no, why can't I remember his name? Ralph Bakshi is the one who did this film, and he's very famous for rotoscoping. Mm-hmm. So basically, you film it and then you draw over top of it.
Gotcha.
And animate that way, and it looks really cool and weird and unique, and it's kind of nightmare fuel, but it's like really cool. Then there's Rankin Bass, and Rankin Bass, I don't know how many cartoons you've seen of theirs, but you know those animated, like the stop motion animation specials, like the Christmas specials and stuff.
Vaguely, yeah.
Like Rudolph, Santa Claus is coming to town.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you say Rudolph, man. I know we all know what you're talking about.
So they did the stop motion ones, but they've also done a series of, they did a series of 2D animation too. They've done a bunch of 2D animation.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that they did, I think they did The Hobbit, and then they did Return of the King. And neither of those animation styles match each other, or match
what came before
the Lord of the Rings movie. And the story doesn't even line up. Like, the story for Return of the King doesn't even line up with that Lord of the Rings, and it's just a mess. The animated Lord of the Rings universe is a mess, but I love it because it's
It's-
so bad, but it's so good.
oh
So like,
boy.
dude,
I'll
it's again, it's one of those things of like I revisit like that's a loaded question for me because I
yeah.
revisit things from my childhood on a regular basis. Because I guess in some aspects I never grew up. Maybe like there's TV shows too that I've
Haven't we
watched.
all?
Um,
Not, or maybe some.
there's been TV shows that I grew up watching that I go back to and I'm like, oh no, this is not as good as I remember it being.
Yeah.
But then there's Batman the Animated Series, which I'm just finishing up, and I'm like, this is exactly how I remember it being. Like, holy crap, this is so good. Like,
I think it depends how far back it is and like how much you remember it, right? Because if it's only a thin memory, you kind of like put the rest of the pieces together and you remember like these moments, you're like, oh wow, so great. But then when you see all the things in between those moments, you're like, maybe not so great. Like sometimes that happens.
it's weird for me because like I spent so much time in front of a TV that I don't I remember the dumbest things and the weirdest things. Like a friend of mine dressed up for Halloween this year as someone from the show Rocket Power.
Okay.
No one that's the
I'm
reaction she
like, I don't
got.
even know what that is.
It was a show about these friends who did extreme sports. Like it, and I vividly remember this show and I was just like so psyched because it's like holy crap, Rocket Power, that's a deep cut. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm so for this. But like no one else remembered it. And like and I run into that all the time with people. Well, they'll be like, "Hey, yeah, this random show," and I'm like, "Holy crap! I watched that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!" And like, I think back to the amount of time I spent in front of a TV, and it explains a lot about me.
Number one, it explains why ducks are my favorite animals.
But
Maybe.
also, again, I don't understand how I'm a functioning adult from all the TV that I watched. It doesn't relate. I should not have had friends. I should, because how did I have time for friends on top of this?
I watched a lot of shows.
No, like I think I've talked about this before, where I based my entire like Saturday schedule around cartoons. I'd wake up first thing in the morning, watch
Yeah.
some, then I'd go clean my room, then I'd watch more, then I'd go clean the rest of the house, then I'd watch some more. Like my entire life was based around TV. And like it's so much so that the doctors couldn't tell if I needed to get eyeglasses because I sat so close to the TV, or I sat so close to the TV because I needed eyeglasses. They
Oh,
didn't know
I thought
which
you were
one
gonna
was
be
which.
like, you need eyeglasses or the TV needed eyeglasses. I didn't know where you were
No,
going with that. Nice.
like my parents watched me
Obviously, I
gradually
did.
get. My
Just a
parents kept
joke.
watching me getting closer and closer to the TV,
Yeah.
and they're like, "What's going on?" And then like the teacher, like I went to kindergarten, and the teachers were like, "Yeah, he's not paying any attention at all."
He can't see shit.
So they took me to the eye doctor, and then they're like, "Oh
He
yeah, he
can't
needs
see
glasses."
shit.
They're like, "Have you noticed anything about him?" And they're like, "Well, he sits really close to the TV." And they're like, "Well, how long has this been going on for?" They're like, "We don't know," but like they would find me like this,
That's
like
close, eh?
inches,
Yeah.
like literally immersed into the TV, and like they were all very confused as to like why, like,
I wonder why
and
this kid needs glasses. Like, I don't know. Maybe because he's
but again,
like trying out the first edition of VR, like on like a
but that's
normal
like
TV. I'll
they
just
couldn't,
shove my face right in here.
but they couldn't figure out because my mom has glasses too. They couldn't figure out it's like did he damage his eyes sitting so close to the TV, or is it like he genetically would always have needed glasses,
Yeah.
and that's why he's sitting so close to the TV.
Yeah.
Man, like again, like my like joke about it all the time, but I was raised by TV.
We
I
ain't
was,
found shit.
and it would anytime I'd play downstairs, I'd pop in a movie.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing on TV, I'd pop in a movie. Like it's my entire life has been based around entertainment, and like the more I think about it, the more it makes perfect sense of what I'm doing, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like probably shouldn't because where's the money? But hey, it makes sense every other way.
It makes sense. Yeah.
That's not a
100.
hint for people to pay me. Someone should hire me. Hey, you need something done? I'll do it. Pay me. Give me money. Are we learning
Right.
again that we shouldn't do podcasts this late?
Yeah, sometimes it's questionable. Sometimes it's questionable. I
Well,
mean,
Matt, then
it's always interesting things.
I'll let you talk, and I'm gonna eat my toffee finally. That's kind of stale now.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I'll just like touch on mine because the whole reason I brought up this question, like, I don't remember how long ago that was now, but like the whole reason.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna like burn you now that you're eating toffee.
or
The whole reason I brought up the question is because on Halloween, we're like, my wife's like, I want to watch like a Halloween kind of scary but not really scary type of movie, like do
yeah.
family fun stuff, right? Because we did
Hmm.
this little thing, we did like a scavenger hunt with like the kids candy and stuff, which was a lot of fun, like in the backyard, and I'm a master at hiding things. It's great. So like some I put like some clumps of candy bars some places. Sometimes I just put like an individual piece of candy somewhere. And those are the best cuz I'd put those like in plain sight and like she could not find them. Like she was like she looked at one like 5 times that was as close as me to the microphone and couldn't see it. Like it was so funny. Anyway, so then my wife's like, "Hey, we got to like watch a, kind of Halloween type movie." And I was like, okay. And she was like, we should watch Beetlejuice. She's like, I haven't watched Beetlejuice forever. And I was like, you know what? I haven't seen Beetlejuice since I was a kid. And I remember it was pretty funny. I remember getting a kick out of it. I remember the whole like, hey, oh, like the whole dance scene. And I remember
Hmm.
Beetlejuice just being seemingly entertaining. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's watch that. So we like sit down, we watch Beetlejuice, and immediately, well, not immediately, but like once you get into it, I was like, I do not remember this movie very well. And I'm gonna say, like, I know it's Tim Burton, and he does his own thing, and a lot of people love Beetlejuice, but I do not love Beetlejuice as much as I thought I loved Beetlejuice, because I was just like, what are we like? What am I showing my child right now? Like,
Was it because you didn't enjoy it, or was it because it's not family friendly as people think it is?
no, I did not enjoy it anywhere near as much. Like partly like my daughter was right there, but that wasn't really the key thing. For me, it just wasn't like it wasn't anywhere near as funny as I remember. Like it seemed like the humor, a lot of it was like super cheap. And I was impressed because, like, Michael Keane, I'm like, how did he get that much energy to play that role? I remember Beetlejuice being, like, energetic, but, like, not like, yeah, that was cocaine, man. Like, he was, like, on a whole nother level of, like, ridiculous energy, like, grabbing his junk, jumping over here, like, that, like, sex club just shows up. And then
Yeah.
she's like, why did you build that? He's like, I didn't. You know what I mean? Like, and like my daughter was also getting to the age where she's understanding that stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Like what movie are we making this kid watch? And like Max is like running around. And I was like, holy shit. But like obviously the special effects don't really hold up that well. And I didn't find the story to hold up anywhere near as much. And I didn't find it as like funny and entertaining as I remember it. Like I remember a few key parts, and I think that was the problem, right? I remember like a few key things that I found like highly entertaining and forgot the whole rest of the movie. So when I was watching it, I was like, what movie am I watching right now? Like I don't remember any of this shit. Like it was just it was something. It was quite a Halloween night. My wife's like, "I'm sorry I made you guys watch that." And I was like, "Well, too late now. We watched it. I got Beetlejuice up in my head right now, being all crazy and stuff." But like there were some moments that were good. I was just and the one thing that was also really fun was just seeing how young everyone is.
Yeah.
That was always great, especially like Alec Baldwin. Like, give me a break, man. He looks doesn't look anything like he looks like right today. Like, not even
Or
close.
acts like anything he
No,
does.
like that's not even. I was saying to my wife, like that's not even like an Alec Baldwin character that he would generally play right now, right? Like it's
Yeah.
so different of a character, and he looks so different from like who he normally plays in his kind of public persona. But like so that was fun. And I like Michael Keaton, like he's very entertaining and obviously very dynamic. And but that was like I just forgot it was that crude. I forgot. Like obviously as a kid I probably didn't get most of it either, right? Like cuz I haven't watched it since I was like real young. Um so I forgot like how crude it was. Obviously didn't realize maybe how crude it was. And but like just his performance though is like forget what I think about the character and how it's written and stuff. Like he does the job to pull it off. Like it's just all over the place. And then I think the ending just really fell apart too. Like I was just this ending is kind of ridiculous, but you know.
See, and for me, that's actually a movie I didn't watch when I was a kid.
Oh
I
yeah.
wasn't I wasn't allowed to watch Beetlejuice. Like,
Well, I don't know how I ended up watching it, but I know I did at some point.
I mean, we've discussed it. Like, our parents raised us on very different things, and like Beetlejuice is one I definitely was not allowed to watch. And
Yeah.
then as an adult, it's when I found it.
Hmm.
And recently, I watched it, and I like it a lot. I think it's entertaining, but I don't. When people say it's a kids film, that's where I get really like,
Yeah, it's definitely not a kids film. Like it's
what's it's
definitely
like
not a kids film.
it's the same as like Edward Scissorhands and stuff like that. Like I don't really see those as kids films. Where like Nightmare Before Christmas, I can see that being more of a kids film
Yeah, it's kind of
because it's
animated.
animated, right? But like,
Yeah.
but like with Beetlejuice, like that never like rewatching it. It's this weird thing of like I don't know if I'd show it to a young kid.
Yeah, no. It would have been my
Like
first choice if I would have remembered it clearly. And it wasn't like and it's not a scary movie. It's just super weird. Like it's just
I
like
think
this is weird.
it's a good teen movie. Like it's a good when you're a teenager.
Probably, yeah.
Like when you're at that 13 to 16-year old, that's kind of the good time to get into that. But for me again, I was happy that I watched it when I was an adult because I just got to experience this thing that well again, everyone talks about
Yeah.
how amazing it is and I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's like an amazing movie, but I think it's
Amazing.
still I like it. I like it quite a bit.
I think it definitely has its benefits. But I don't know, it just didn't do it for me either. Like I wasn't overly entertained by it. Again, maybe my expectations were too high, right? Like I just thought maybe it was a different type of movie. My expectations were
Hmm.
different. So maybe I'd have to watch it a third time and see how it all kind of like fits in to like how I remembered, how I think about it, and my ultimate opinion on the film. But yeah, no, it was just like I had a
The theme
thought
is really
and I
good.
lost it. But like I like the idea of it. Like they have a lot of like interesting ideas. Oh, I remember. It also depends what you think of Tim Burton too, obviously, right? Like because he
Yeah, that's
has his
fair.
very own unique style that he does. And for me personally, like Tim Burton doesn't work for me most of the time. Sometimes, yes. Not all the time though. Like even in the Batman films, right? Like the first Batman with Jack Nicholson, that worked. That was a great movie. It was dark, but it what didn't seem ridiculous. Once you get into even Batman Returns though, it felt like parts of it like did not that parts of that movie did not work for me. It was still okay or like probably one of my higher end rated Tim Burton films, but it's a lot of it's like the penguin I felt was like greasier beyond needing to be that greasy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it was just like, bro, guy, come on. Like so it depends also what you think of Tim Burton. If you like his style and you like his films, then you're probably going to enjoy this too. But I think that had the whole element, like the visual element of it all too, just didn't really work for me either too much. But no, like I don't know. Yeah, it definitely didn't hold up to what I was remembering it to be, and it was an interesting experience to say the least.
Yeah, no, I think it comes down to personal taste and like I'm not a huge Tim Burton fan. Like I like some of his movies. My favorite movie is his Big Fish, which is arguably the least Tim Burton-y film that he's ever made.
Hmm.
But like overall for me it's just I didn't hate um like I didn't hate I can't even remember what I was gonna say. I didn't
Beetlejuice.
hate the yeah, like I didn't hate the vibe from it. And like some of his style does get a little redundant, I guess, to a point. But like Beetlejuice still kind of feels like it's a it feels like it's early enough in his career that like I can forgive it for being so Tim Burton-y.
Fair enough.
Because I want to say that came out before most of his other things that just kind of had the exact same like.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, because
like
it must have
it's
because Johnny
early.
Depp
Like,
wasn't in the movie.
yeah, there was no Johnny Depp. Yeah, there's no Johnny Depp. There was no like that was before. I think that was actually, I think it was because of Beetlejuice that Michael Keaton ended up getting the role of Batman.
Probably.
I believe I read that somewhere. Because it doesn't seem, it wouldn't make sense to be the other way around. So, but no, I just, yeah, I had a certain memory of it. And there are moments that I was like, funny, funny, funny. And then just watching it was just like, this is not as funny as I remembered. It's definitely a lot more strange. I remember the guy with the little head though. I remember that dude who got his head shrunk. And all like the dead people in the little waiting
Yeah.
room. Yeah, that was
No, that's
actually, that
and
was pretty
that's
funny.
when you actually look at like specifically that scene, like it's just a whole marvel of like costume design and like
Oh, for sure. Like that,
concept.
yeah.
Like it's phenomenal.
You can't take that away from them there. Can't take that away. But anyway, let us know if you guys have any movies that you've watched recently that have held up, that haven't held up, that you had different thoughts about or different memories, and they just, they didn't work for you, or they did, and they were beautiful reminders of days gone by. Let's move on into the best films of 2010. These are my picks now. We did Ethan's last week, so if you want to catch up on those, head back to last week's episode. Check those out. Come on back, and let's get to work. I'm going to do what you did too. I'm going to start with my honorable mentions because I kind of like that idea. It's like build up with the ones that like aren't as good till we get to the top that are like these are like my best films.
Yeah, just
Um
kind of felt nice to just kind of
yeah, well,
get him out.
you know how we like to do it here. We just like to switch it up every once in a while and just see how it goes, see how it works out. So for me, first one on honorable mentions was Book of Eli. That came out in 2010. That's also
Yeah.
a Denzel Washington one with Gary Oldman. That was a fun movie. I don't remember again a ton about it. Actually, let me just say this about 2010. I'm like, these are my favorite movies, but I don't remember a whole ton about them because I probably haven't watched them since 2010. So it's been 10 years since I've watched a lot of these movies. Um,
I
but
feel that.
but I do like when you look at them and like remember them, like, oh yeah, no, that was a good film. So I like the Book of Eli. That was fun. Denzel Washington. I remember like him rolling around with like a big ass knife and stuff, and it kind of had like that. It was like post apocalyptic or something. Like kind of had that Mad Max almost feel to it. Um, but yeah, Gary Oldman was very good in that. Again, Gary Oldman's one of those characters or actors who can just like disappear into a character. You know what I mean? Like there's so many characters that Gary Oldman plays that you're like, wait, he played that guy? Even
Wait,
when I
he
was
was him?
yeah, even when I was watching Air Force One the other day, freaking Gary Oldman's like the main terrorist. I was like, are you kidding me? How did I never notice that at
Fifth
all?
Element's another one.
Like, yeah, like he's
Like
just
he's
everywhere. And but he just absorbs himself into the character. Like physically, he like I don't know, maybe he just has that look where he can just become anybody. The guy's like a chameleon, man. It
on
works
his
so
accents.
well. Yeah. Like he fits right in. So, another great Gary Oldman movie, along with the good old Denzel, Book of Eli. The Wolfman, which we talked about last week.
Yep,
Benicio del Toro, Anthony Hopkins. Repo Man. This is one you haven't seen, I don't think. This was with
I have not.
Jude Law, Forrest Whitaker. Quick breakdown here. It's in the future. They sell organs and stuff, but like there's obviously like, payment plans for these organs. And when you can't pay, the repo man come and take the organs back. Is generally like the idea there. So it's quite an interesting concept and idea. You might like the ending, you might not. Are we doing like? Should we talk about? I guess we have a warning for spoilers. There's spoilers. Or are you gonna watch this, Ethan? I don't want to ruin it for you.
No, no, I wasn't planning on it.
Okay, so about halfway through the movie, like obviously you know the plot. They collect organs. At one point, Jude Law gets a new organ, and then he can't pay. So then his buddy Forrest Whitaker has got to come get his organs out of him. And at some point, I can't remember if he gets kicked or some dropped on him. But um, then like the film like keeps going like till the end where he like beats the bad guys, and then him and the girl are like, oh, we're hiding away in this tropical beach and we're all safe, right?
Yeah,
Plot twist. halfway through the movie when he got like kicked in the face, he actually like went into a coma, and this is all from a machine that's making him believe this all happened. So none of it actually happened. The movie ended halfway through actually.
So it turned into Total Recall?
Yeah, like like
It's a reverse Total Recall?
total reverse total recall pretty much. Yeah. But he's just in this machine or whatever that's like, keeping him alive, but he's in a coma or something. I don't remember exactly the end, but I was like, oh wait, so like the last half of the movie never happened? That's cool. That's cool. And I know that's like a huge spoiler, but I don't know. It's 10 years old, guys. If you want to watch it, you've probably watched it by now.
It's I just looked it up a bit and it's got like a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, I thought it was fun though. They had a really cool action scene where like Jude Law was like fighting through this hallway of like dudes, but like I can't remember what the angle was on it. I think maybe it was like a profile or something. I can't remember,
Yep.
but they had like the lost slow mo, a lot of like cutting. It was actually a really cool scene, and some of the ideas are very interesting for this like future. But
2010 was a year for slow-mo if I remember
yeah,
correctly because
I think there was.
I want to say Resident Evil 4 came out in 2010.
Yeah, it did.
And
It did.
that's like slow-mo the movie. Like, like
Like-
if you took out all the slow-mo and just made it like regular speed, it would be like a 40-minute
just
long
half
movie.
the movie. They're like, we need
Yeah.
to expand this movie, guys. Slow mo everywhere.
Every action scene. Oh man,
Yeah.
when are the I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, she's still kicking
Like,
him.
oh, she's still
Okay.
doing that. Cool. But anyway, that was Repo Man. Hot Man. Hot Tub Time Machine.
That one was
was
good, yeah.
really funny movie. I love that one. That was a great one too. There,
I
Craig
didn't
Robinson,
hate the sequel.
John Cusack.
Yep.
The sequel wasn't as good. The first one was definitely better.
But it's still like
the sequel was
both
okay.
for fun.
Yeah, not too bad. Of course, How to Train Your Dragon. That's on there. You have to put that. Like, it's a great animated film. That's
classic
not
animation.
Disney. That's not like Pixar, right? Like DreamWorks like has like good animation, but not always do they like hit the mark. And those How to Train Your Dragon films are really, really good. Like all three of them have been just very much on the mark. Like they do a really good
Still
job.
need to see the third one.
All very good. Toy Story 3, obviously. For obvious reasons. Pretty great. Grown Ups came out that year. That was a fun one where you had like all the it was like the Expendables, but for like comedians, which was a lot of fun.
I honestly I watched it and I never watched it again. And I felt like I laughed, but
Yeah.
I just never felt the draw to see it a second time.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen it a couple times. The second one was okay. The first one was considerably better. That was a good one.
I'm beginning to wonder about your taste in movies, Matt.
Why? What's wrong with these films?
I don't know, it's just fun to make fun of you.
Oh, it's fun making fun. It's fun making fun. Despicable Me was another solid one.
Oh yeah, I completely
year?
forgot about that.
You know, you got the Minions showing up. You got Steve Carell doing his thing. It's actually a pretty great animated film as well.
That was a really good one.
And then too, just other like funny ones. The Other Guys, which I thought was, and there's a reason it's on the honorable mention, right? Because it's not great all the way through, but I thought like the first probably half of it was good, and then I don't know, it just didn't seem too funny like the second half, but like.
I never seen it.
Yeah, no, like the first half is great, like, and especially like the first quarter where you got Samuel L. Jackson and like The Rock are in the film. Like, it's so funny, man. Like, there's a moment in there that's like just gold. I'm not even gonna spoil this one because it is really good. Like, it's a scene that's made me laugh really, really hard. So The Other Guys, that's on there, and Red. I thought Red was pretty good. Like, I don't remember it fully, but you got Bruce Willis in there.
That's basically Red in a nutshell. You remember Bruce Willis and everyone else is like
Bruce Willis. Well, they're retired and extremely deadly. I can't remember the.
it's
acronym.
another one I watched once and then just never felt the desire to go back and
Oh
watch
yeah,
again.
no, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It reminds me, like, I'm playing Watch Dogs Legion right now. It's a new game that came out, and you can literally play as like any NPC. So you can literally play as like senior citizens and like roll around and like shoot people, but you're like old and like slow. And instead of like jumping over, like doing like cool like jump over objects. They like slowly crawl over things and kind of like fall over on the other side. Like it's pretty funny. It makes me bust a gut. But that's kind of what that reminded me of. I was like, oh yeah, old people with guns. Yeah, hilarious. But anyway, those are my honorable mentions. So not like the best movies ever, but
All
for
pretty terrible.
2010, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so let's get into my top picks. I picked three top picks here, and because I figure we could probably roll through them overly quickly because again, I just haven't seen
You
a
want
lot
to go
of
to
these
bed?
movies since 2010.
You want to go to
And
bed? Is that what it is? You just want to.
sleep is good. Sleep is good. But no, I'd rather be here with you guys. Sleep is for when you're dead. You sleep all you want.
No, sleep is for when you're a responsible father who needs to take care of his son, and don't you ever be ashamed of that, Matt.
Thank you, Ethan.
You
You.
need to sleep for a very good reason.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
agree.
welcome.
I agree.
You're not irresponsible, pretends he's in college still and stays up till 5 in the morning because he
Dude,
just
I
likes to
couldn't
hate
stay.
himself.
Man, I couldn't stay up till 5 in the morning if I wanted to. And
Well, the
if I
night terrors
did,
help.
and if I did, man, I would feel it for the next like 4 days. It would just not be. It would take me a while
That's
to
so
recover.
dumb.
Isn't
Dude,
that
like
annoying, man?
this
Like,
weekend I've been trying to go to bed early and like going to bed early, but then I just
stay up.
wake up like I'm just not feeling the rest lately, but like
Oh, that sucks.
it'll catch up with me eventually. One day.
One day you'll just be out and sleep for like 4 days. Like, oh wow, I'm late for work. You actually missed like 4 days. Well, I was sleeping.
Well, I mean,
It
the
is
thing
what it
is
is.
going into the season that we're in right now, unless there's another shutdown, that won't be happening.
Yeah.
I work retail and it's going into the holiday season.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'm ready to be wrecked. I'm ready to not sleep until January or February. I'm prepped.
You're just like hyped up. You're like, I've already been doing my pre-stay up forever training. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
well,
go.
because it's again like I do my full work days, and then I come
Yeah.
home and I work on stuff, and then I do my full work days, and then I come home and work on stuff. And then I have my weekends where I work on things, and then I
Yeah.
there's no rest. You don't. I mean, like, but at the same time, though, that being said, it is very important, listeners, to actually take rest days and take days where you are doing nothing
Yep.
to just
To
recharge
take it easy.
and take care of yourself.
Get some sleep, play some video games, have some fun.
Everyone gets a pass this year. No one ages. Everyone's the same age. From everyone's the same age.
You have not aged at all this year. Congratulations.
Yep.
We may look
That's
like
basically-
it, but really, we haven't.
We look like we've all aged like 10 years.
I've
by
lost
just
like
being,
another 50% of my hair just this
It's that
year.
whole. You know those things where it's like they walk out of like after being like in lockdown for so long, they have big beards and they're
Yeah.
looking crazy, and it's like the sun is finally out, and it's like,
That'll be when winter's over. I tell you, man. That's gonna be when winter's over. It's gonna be like, shiny's
But hey.
bright.
at least people get to listen to our amazing voices for however long.
Oh my god, I am so sorry.
I was actually being proud of us, and you have ruined that moment.
I am so sorry.
Just for that, Matt, I'm not going to talk to you for the rest of the podcast.
It's just gonna be real quiet. I'll be like, so let's just start talking to myself here, I guess. But what were we talking about before that? Oh yeah, 2010.
Yeah,
my
we're
main.
talking about your
I'm like
picks.
totally forgot what we were. I was like, what were we actually talking about? Because I remember talking about Book of Eli. Let's go back to my honorable mentions. Start the list all over again. No, let's not.
Is this Groundhog Days a podcast?
Just keep going back. You distract me. Well, let's just start back at the beginning because I can't remember. I'm just old like that. Unstoppable is actually one of my favorite films of 2010. And I know you haven't seen this film at all, but I would just
Because it looked kind of dumb to me. I watched the trailer and I'm like,
oh man,
it's about stopping a train.
yes, but
Okay.
it's so good. It's one of those ones where it's like the concept and the idea is like all right, but when
Yeah.
you watch it, like you get drawn into the drama and the characters of it. And
You have to remember,
they do such a good job though. Like let me just say, like they do just such a good job of like creating and building the right amount of tension in that film. Like, and the
But you
stakes
have
are properly placed.
you have to remember though, when this movie came out, this was the same 19-year-old Ethan who's like, "Why would I watch a movie about Facebook?" So like again, it looked dumb to me when I was 19. It looked dumb to me about 10 years ago, Matt.
That
I'm
seems,
very I've learned at this point that a trailer can be very deceiving.
yeah, you know,
Because well,
well,
John Wick looked like absolute crap and it's an amazing film.
and that's the thing, right? Like some trailers can make films look. You can have a great trailers for bad films and bad trailers for good films. At the end of the day, it's hard to always tell, so you kind of got to use your best judgment. But no, like this one was good because like you got a train, and I actually talked to like Ryan Green back in the day because he's like, good movie, impossible though, because there's safety guards and things to like in place. So that won't actually happen, but like, you know, good movie though. It was entertaining. And I was like, yeah, no, that's fair. But like, it's a train that like, I don't know, one of the like have like these, you know, the guy from, My Name is, what's that show? My Name is Earl.
Yeah,
Have you seen that show? Like, you know, like the brother who hangs out with him all the time?
is he the bigger guy?
Yeah, like the dumber one.
Like he's a larger man, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
yeah, his name is Ethan Suplee, I'm pretty sure.
yeah. Who's actually,
Um
by the way, ripped right now? He's a beast. Like you wouldn't even
oh yeah, no.
recognize him.
Then that's 100% Ethan Suplee. Like
Yeah,
and dude,
yeah,
dude, he's one of my favorite actors. He's in so many things that I love.
yeah.
Like he's in Remember the Titans, he's in Mallrats,
Tons of
he's
stuff.
he's in Boy Meets World. Like
Was
dude,
he?
yeah, he's one of the bullies in like the first couple or in like the third and fourth season or the second and third season, one of those seasons. But like, dude, like he's such a good actor, and I absolutely love him. And I like, yeah. So is he in this movie
So
too? Because
he's
then I
in
might
this
watch
film
it.
too. Yes,
Well,
he's
then I
in this.
might watch it.
He's in this film. Also, like, let me just mention the leads. Obviously, Denzel Washington and Chris Pine.
Who
So,
cares about those guys? They're not
dude,
Ethan
they're
Suplee.
amazing. They do such a good job. So anyway, you know, Ethan, I don't remember whatever his last name was there.
I think
Um,
it's Suplee or Suplee. I don't know. I
him
maybe
and his,
mispronounced. Oh, he's in American History X as well.
well, there you
Classic.
go.
Oh, he's dude. Actually, he's been acting with Denzel Washington quite a bit because he's also in John Q. And I forgot Denzel Washington was in Remember the Titans.
Isn't he like the main guy?
He's the main guy. Ethan Suplee just plays he plays a football player.
Yeah.
I
And you're
forgot.
just like, yeah, that Ethan Soup playing that
Look,
movie with that guy. It was good.
we share a first name, therefore we are bonded.
You remember
forever.
him now.
Even though he doesn't know who I am.
Him
I
and
know who
Andrew
he is
Garfield
and
are
we
like your like best buddy goals. You're like, you guys are my good buddies now. He's actually
Yes.
he's like Jack though right now. I saw a picture recently. It wasn't too long ago.
any
He's like just a
any
beast.
any Ethan who's famous is immediately a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Like Ethan Hawke as well.
Must be nice.
But yeah, but by proxy, Tom Cruise because he played Ethan Hunt. I get called that a lot. I get called Ethan Hunt a lot.
People are weird.
They're like, haha, your name's Ethan, just like Ethan Hunt. And I'm like, yeah, my last name's Hill. And they're like, haha, it's the same thing. And I'm like, no,
No.
it's a very different word.
You're like that's not even the same. It's not even the same word, bruv. It's not the
And
same word.
same thing, Ethan Hawke. They're like, haha, you're the same. And I'm like, I'll take it because he's a great actor.
Yeah, like when I used to like deliver mats and garments and stuff around the city, everyone's like, "Oh, look, it's Matt, the mat guy."
no.
And I was like, and every time like you got like cuz you're also selling stuff when you're doing deliveries, you can't just be like, "You're an idiot, shut up." Like 'cause you gotta be like,
I mean, you
wow,
can,
I'm like,
but-
God, man, like that's hilarious. I've never heard that one before. Like, wow, you're Mr. Original over here. Like, it's Matt
Why
the
didn't you-
Mad Guy. Does anyone ever call you that? I bet not. Like, yeah, because like like it's not like my name and the word Matt are literally almost like
Hey,
they're exactly
can you
the
get-
same.
Can you get the door, Matt?
Yeah, exactly right. It's like having an orange and finding another orange and being like, I'm a genius. I have 2 oranges. Like, what? That wasn't that hard. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Why are you proud about that? That's what
Aren't you
you've
glad
done.
I didn't
That's
say
what you've,
banana?
like, that's what you've done. Anyway,
Oh my
back
goodness.
to Unstoppable. Quit distracting me.
Oh,
You,
look, man, I can't contribute to the train conversation.
so I'm going to distract you? God,
Yes,
man. It's getting late
Matt.
enough. I'm more having a hard time keeping my thoughts together.
Matt, I wasn't trained properly.
Oh, and that's been episode 19, part 2. We'll see you guys
Oh
next week.
no,
Maybe I won't be there
com-
for that episode because I'm going to go
complete
jump
side
off a
thing.
bridge.
So I found out recently that purple doesn't exist as a color. Apparently it exists outside of our like spectrum because the way our eyes receive color is through like red, green, and blue cones.
Yeah.
So yellow is between like yellow and orange are between green and red, but purple exists like outside. It's past blue. So our brains concocted this color that we see as purple. It just made one up and just like that's what that is because we don't know what it actually is. And so I found this out and I looked at my roommates and I'm like, "Hey guys, so purple doesn't exist. I guess that makes it a pigment of our imagination." And that is the funniest thing I've said in a very long time.
I'm going to end this podcast. Like, you are one pun away. Just, we're
Pigment of
wrapping it up here.
pigment of your imagination is funny and you will admit it.
It's got merit. That is all I will admit.
I know people who have laughed at it so far. One of my friends laughed at it.
I know
And that's the
people who have
important part.
laughed at it. Must be legit. Seems
One-
legit.
I've had one friend laugh at it, and that is all that matters to me.
That tracks, Ethan. That tracks.
The rest of you all can suck it.
Oh my god. Oh, so back to Unstoppable. That is
I can keep
apparently
trying to stop you.
that is apparently very stoppable, or at least the very least divertible.
See, that's the thing. They just needed to have me in the movie, and the movie would have been
The
solved.
trains. It just this whole side movie. Like, what are we watching? Where'd the train go?
It's just me doing stupid puns and dancing on.
Just like the worst review. Okay,
You
no,
you guys came to watch this movie. It's 2 hours of this.
Stop it. Oh my god. Okay.
Anyway, Matt, Unstoppable. Continue.
So the Ethan, what's his
I'll get
face?
I'll get a toffee.
Ethan, what's his face? And his buddy, they accidentally let the train go, and like it's this like heavily loaded train, like it's got a ton of cars, and it just starts taking off, and like as it goes, it continues to build up speed. And obviously, if you know anything about trains, there's a lot of weight and a lot of momentum means you pretty much can't stop the thing. Like it's just ripping down the tracks. So like the whole movie is obviously trying to like stop this train. But of course you have like the interesting story between like Denzel Washington character and Chris Pine. Like Denzel's like training Chris Pine, he's like a newbie. And it's like literally his first day on the job. And like so Denzel's training him up on like everything kind of going on. And they try and stop this train like multiple times. Like they have like a helicopter crew like trying to drop like a crew on there to like turn it off or whatever, and they can't get it done. Like they can't do it. I think one guy like almost splats on the windshield or something. I can't remember. There was a couple things. Like it was pretty crazy. They tried multiple things, like putting another train in front of it, and it just like rammed that train like off the road. Um, it was like just a real tense movie, like one of those ones where you're just kind of like you want it to be resolved because like it poses such a danger. And the big thing was it was coming up to like a curve in like one of the cities, but it's like an elevated track, so it would have gone off the track on this turn and like into the city. And I think like Denzel Washington's family lived there, something like that, right? Because you got to put like the personal
Raise
stake.
that stakes.
You got to put the personal stakes in there too, right? Like, so.
Ah man, if all these millions of people die, it's fine.
But
Your
like,
family's there.
Not
Oh,
Denzel
no.
Washington's family. Oh my god. So anyway, these guys hear about it on the radio and they're like, we're not like they realize like, oh, we're not too far away. So their plan is to like come up behind it and like try and break from behind, right? So instead of trying to get in front of it and slow it down and stop it, they're trying to come from behind and like pull it back.
Hmm.
Which they like obviously catch up to the train at some point and then they're trying to pull it, but it's like not working. And then you got to see what happens from there. But like, it's a really entertaining film. Like, it's really good. It's got a lot of really great character moments. Like you were saying before, you get the right story in the right storyteller's hands. They make even just conversations between two characters like interesting, right? That
Well,
you're just drawn
exactly.
into.
And again, as we said, like it's your one of your top picks is a movie about a train that doesn't sound like it would be that riveting, but look at how excited it made you.
Yeah,
The
like
same thing with
just
like I like
like honestly, it became my best pick because I looked at the pick I had and I looked at like the other two that are along kind of at the top with it. And it's like, which one of these films would I watch again? Like, if you said you could watch any one of these films, which one would you watch? And I was like, well, I'm gonna watch Unstoppable, man. Like, that was a really good film. Like, it was a high tension, high stakes, like drama. And while like the idea of it doesn't sound like ooh, whoa, an unstoppable train, like when you're watching the film, they like obviously communicate like how dangerous it is, right? And
oh
I
100%.
think it was probably like carrying like bunch of like those oil drums and shit too, right? The oil
So it would have been like a
cars, like
devastating.
a bomb, pretty much, right?
Isn't it based off a true event?
I think it is, and that's why I was like, I was doubtful when Ryan Green was like, "That wouldn't happen." I was like, I'm pretty sure this is
No,
a
I want to
true
say it's
story, like,
um
and maybe that's why those safeguards are in place because of that train. I don't know.
well like honestly though I agree with you. Like it's kind of like my picks were picked
Yeah,
was it was what I would watch right now.
yeah,
What out of this list and like other than that like Runaways and Tron Legacy were my top picks, but like I felt cheat or not top picks, but they were like my other ones that I debated watching.
yeah.
So like I understand exactly what you said, where it's like picking the top picks or like ones that you would actually watch.
Like right now, like if you gave me a choice, and it's not like I don't love the other movies, like they were all like equally like Toy Story 3. I'm not saying Toy Story 3 sucks. Like obviously it's
No,
an
like
honorable mention. It's great. I just wouldn't want to watch it right now. So obviously it's not like my favorite. But like I'm a sucker for Denzel Washington too, right? Like he's
oh
such a
he's
good
amazing.
like he's just amazing. Such a great actor, like a real good guy. And like he just brings so much like gravitas to his characters and to his performance and just really makes you believe it. Like it's awesome. And Chris Pine did a great job too. And there's just so many little twists and turns in that film that just make it that much more exciting and that much more like they have proper stakes, they have proper tensions, they raise them at the appropriate times. And it works, and the stories are very character driven. And even though it's about a train, obviously we know when it comes to stories, it's ultimately about these characters and their lives, right? And their relationships
Yeah.
towards one another and their families. Like that's ultimately what attaches us and connects us to a story. So no, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen Unstoppable, just give it a try. You'll be hooked. It was good. It was good.
I'll give it a shot at one point after I watch Darkest Hour.
After you watch Darkest Hour, then go onto the train. We finished Darkest Hour. Time for the train.
Well,
Um,
again, like it's as you said, man. Like it's got a good cast, and a good cast can make basically the most silly of stories.
yeah,
Like a good cast, a good director, the right crew, just make any. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Eh?
I
That was
will
a hundred
allow it.
percent. That was 100% unintentional.
It seemed
Um,
unintentional, so I'll allow it. I will not shut down the podcast yet.
but definitely like it's again it's just about the right team can take the most impossible absurd idea. Like break down your favorite movie into the most absurd idea and like just think about it
Yeah,
and you realize like oh this totally shouldn't work. But it like again Back to the Future doesn't make any sense as a basic concept. No sense at all, but it's one of the best movies ever made.
but it works.
Like
Yeah.
what's your favorite movie, Matt?
I don't know. I feel like we've talked about this a bunch. Like, I don't know. I love a lot of different movies.
If you had to pick one as your favorite, I mean, like, again, if the answer is Star Wars, like Star Wars again should not have worked. By all intents and purposes, Star Wars should not have worked. It should not have succeeded.
No, it's
But
pretty ridiculous. A lot
but
of
the right
yeah,
people were behind it,
yeah.
and the
Even
right
like the
people saved it.
MCU in general, right? Like the whole idea of that should never have worked. Like, and casting Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man should never have worked because, like, he wasn't Robert Downey Jr. that we know today. Like, he was just coming off being like a huge druggie. That's what everyone knew Robert Downey Jr. as. Like,
He wasn't Robert Downey Jr. He was Robert Downey Jr.
Miss
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. Like, so, I mean, there's a lot of things that, yeah, shouldn't work, but you get the right team, the right people, the right moments, the right time, you can make it work. The right storytellers. And
100%.
yeah, that's one of the films that's like, and when you're watching it, they do a great job at making it not feel ridiculous, right? Because if you're
One.
watching a film and you know the concept's ridiculous, but like you also feel ridiculous watching it, it's not a movie that's working, right? It's like the Lego movie. I watched it and you were engaged in that film. Not once were you watching the Lego movie and be like, this is ridiculous. That couldn't happen. Lego pieces couldn't come to life. Like, obviously. But
One
you get invested in
to
the story and those things, like you can suspend your disbelief of things, right?
to answer your question earlier too, it is 100% the Unstoppable is based off a real life event.
Oh, okay. There we go. Booyah,
So
Ryan Green, who's not listening right now, but he's my good
so it
buddy.
totally so it totally could happen. Oh snap!
Or it could have happened. Maybe not anymore, but I can't remember what it was. Like it was something like they just didn't like they jumped out of the cab, but they didn't like put in the brakes or something, and then the train just like starts taking off and they can't catch it, and then away it goes, right? Like
And it was carrying like a bunch of chemicals and stuff
yeah,
like
like
that.
a whole bunch of shit. Yeah. So no, it's a very, very good movie. Definitely recommend watching it. Second pick, The Karate Kid. This is the one with
Ooh,
Jackie Chan and like Jaden
ooh,
Smith. Don't boo it. Okay, obviously,
ooh!
okay. Like, let's be clear. The Karate Kid originals are like yeah,
Look,
I'm
the
not
first Karate Kid,
comparing
like
this
it's
to
oh
like
no,
Karate Kid
I
1 and 2 were okay. 3 I
I
wasn't a fan of.
also I can't pass judgment at all because I've actually never seen Karate Kid. It's just really fun to like
Just
make fun of it.
boo. Like and that's what like a lot of people do, but honestly I found it an enjoyable film, and I grew up watching like the original Karate Kid films.
Yeah,
Those were in my house, VHS, watched them a whole bunch, so I'm very much aware of the originals. But like for me this was like, even though it sends China, same rough idea, like it's not exactly the same story, right?
I just realized. Yeah, I want to say like because he's I'm pretty sure I'm like 100% sure he's Japanese in the original one,
Who?
Mr. Miyagi.
Oh yeah, something like that. I can't remember. This one, like, it has its differences and stuff, but like the idea and the spirit of it are the same. Hence why it has the same name. It's a reimagining idea. And I can't remember. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched those original ones too. But no, like this one was actually a very well done film. The one what I enjoyed most, like Jaden's performance was okay. Like he's a kid, right? Like he's gonna, you know, do a well enough job as a kid his age does. Quite a bit younger than the actual Karate Kid from the originals. But I think the star of this film was like Jackie Chan, man. Like it was such a different role for him at the time.
Honestly, I love like as an actor, I love Jackie Chan. I
Yeah,
think he is a
a-
fantastic actor.
and
I think
this
he's
this was a role that he really got to flex like those acting muscles. Like it wasn't just all stunt, 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 stunt. Haha, funny joke. Stunt, 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 stunt. Oh, I can't hear you. Come on, Lee. Come on, Lee. Come on.
so
You know what I mean? Like, no, this was like he actually got to act and he was playing an older, wiser character. And
the
that really, really worked for their film. And I think if you didn't have Jackie Chan in there to be the base, and to be the core of that film, well, the character wasn't the core of the story, like, but he was like that rock of the experienced actor with a really solid performance that really brought it home and made it a quite enjoyable film. Like,
could
it's not the original, but it's very, very good.
could they have titled the film something differently? Do you think that it could have existed as not being the Karate Kid, considering they don't teach him karate, they teach him kung fu because karate is a Japanese thing,
Yeah.
and and it's based in China. Like, do you think that they could have just changed the name, given it something else, like, and just made it its own movie? And like, do you? Because again, I
So,
haven't seen
like,
it.
okay, so they
Like,
could have
for
done that, but I guarantee you people still would have been like, wow, that's just a ripoff of Karate Kid. Because it does follow, like, a lot of the very, very similar beats. Like, it's not exactly the same. There's obviously some very significant differences to it. And it's a bit more of a drama. Like, it's a bit more dramatic, I feel like, in a lot of ways, than those other ones felt. At least the
like
original.
the original.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, no! Like, I will fight you on that. I will actually fight you because like some of the best scenes that people don't talk about in the original Karate Kid are dramatic scenes. Like, there's the one where like Mr. Miyagi gets drunk and starts kind of like reliving his life during the war. Like, it's dude, like it's you should rewatch the original Karate Kid. Like, it's very
It's been
80s,
a
but
while.
there's some. I think in your older age you will appreciate it more. And apparently Cobra Kai is phenomenal, from what I've
That's
heard.
Yeah, no, you're right. It may be a Beetlejuice thing. Like you remember like certain parts of the Karate Kid. Like, yeah, maybe that's something that would have probably as a kid I probably didn't pay too much attention to that aspect.
Well, yeah, because
I'm totally willing to admit that 100%, but
I think you as a person now and as a film fan, you would definitely like the original one a
yeah.
lot more.
We-
Like, I'm not saying more than the new one. I'm saying like you a lot more than you
Well,
remember it.
no, I personally think like the originals were better. Like I think it's a better film. But like obviously they didn't come out the same year, so I'm not comparing like apples to apples here. Like, you know,
Well, at the end of the day, though, was it just a fun, entertaining movie?
like it's a good movie. It is a
And
very like
and
it's
it did
good.
its
It's
job.
entertaining. Like the fighting was good. Like Jane was okay, but like for me, it was like it was Jackie
Jackie
Chan,
Chan stuff,
man.
100%.
It was Jackie Chan. He was
I mean, like,
money in that film.
again, do you watch Shanghai Nights and Shanghai Noon for Owen Wilson, or do you watch it for Jackie Chan?
Yeah, exactly. Rush
Do you
Hour, I
watch?
watched for both of them though, because Chris Tucker's freaking hilarious, man. Jamal
I
Lee.
don't think I don't think I've ever seen the third one. I think I've only ever seen the
The
first
third
two.
one's not worth watching. One is
I like the
okay.
first two quite
Two,
a bit.
that is the only trilogy I can think of off the top of my head where I say two is the clear and outright best film out of the trilogy.
Well, because the first one did a really good job at setting everything up, and then
Yeah,
the
like
second one really paid a lot of it
paid
out.
off a lot on the relationships. And the third one was like okay. It wasn't anywhere near as funny though. It was like two. Like two was very funny.
Have you ever watched? I think it's Drunken Master.
No, I
I
didn't.
think
I
it's
haven't
Drunken
watched that
Master.
now.
So that one's interesting to watch, and I think it might still be on Netflix. It might not be anymore, but the version I watched was dubbed over in three different languages.
Wow.
It would just change depending on the scene. And one of the languages is English. The other two, I can't even remember which they were, but I know they were from somewhere overseas. And it was just the funniest thing in the world. But it's like a really great comedy action, solid Jackie. It's
Huh.
like one of Jackie Chan's earliest films, but it's super good. And like, if you like his stuff, you would enjoy it quite a bit. If you don't mind dubs and if you don't mind subtitles and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you'll enjoy it quite a bit. Um, but again, even watching anything with Jackie Chan where he's fighting is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, it's watching one of the greatest stunt performers ever just doing what he loves, and how he always looks scared while he's doing it.
Yeah, like he's such a good performer. Like he really is. And like and this is what I enjoyed too about this film because he wasn't even fighting that much. Like there wasn't a lot for him to do because it's the Karate Kid, right? Like it's about the kid learning stuff, but like just his acting was so good. Like he was the grounded like again like the pillar of that film because like Jaden was like okay, right? Like he's a kid. The other supporting
Yeah.
characters were like okay because they're either kids or like his mom or whatever, but it's like Jackie Chan was the pillar of that film, and if he didn't work that whole film would have collapsed. And I know a lot of people didn't like this version because a lot of people like to compare this to that and this to that, like, and if this isn't as good as that, there's no way this is a good film, but it's a good film in its own right. And it works on a lot of different levels, and I have to say I quite enjoyed it. It was pretty good.
On a completely unrelated note, Jackie Chan Adventures, the cartoon. Did you ever watch that or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, how many
That's a
cartoons
show,
have I completely forgotten about?
dude. That's
Amazing.
one that still holds up. That is one that still
I still, I'm gonna
110%
go. I'm
holds up.
actually gonna go find that. I'm gonna write it
I
down
re
right now.
I rewatched it about like 4 years ago,
Yeah,
beginning to end, and it still holds up. Like it's still one of the best cartoons that I have ever seen. It is, and 5 seasons, man. 5 seasons of different types of um mythologies. And dude, it's such a cool show. It's such a fun show,
I
and
totally
I
forgot
just
about that show.
Uncle is one of my favorite characters and always will be. I love him so much.
God damn. Um, yeah, cool. That was Karate Kid. One last one that I just want to touch on real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Not that it's not good. Like it is, it's good. I just move along, move along. But that's Kick Ass. I overly enjoyed Kick Ass. It was like Aaron Taylor Johnson, Nicolas Cage, and Chloe.
Grace Moretz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like Kick Ass 2 was good, but the
Oh, and
original one
McLovin.
is in McLovin. Yeah, and Mark Strong, I believe, is
Yep.
the villain in that one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was such a good film, and like especially because it's like such a fun twist on like the superhero genre, which arguably wasn't even that big at the time. Like it was getting there, because this is still like post Iron Man, possibly post Iron Man 2 and Hulk and stuff, and there's superheroes around, but it wasn't obviously like the biggest MCU days. But man, it was just a fun film. Like you got this nerdy high school student that decides to like put on a mask and be a hero, gets his ass kicked a whole bunch of times. He oh wait no, he got in some injury, so he had like a bunch of metal
Yeah, he
plates
had
and
a
like
there was a
bone
massive
and stuff. Like yeah, he got really effed up. So then he got like different surgical things, so he couldn't actually feel pain or whatever. So then he went out and decided to be a superhero and got his ass kicked a whole bunch of times until he met Hit Girl and Big Daddy, which was pretty much like Nicolas Cage as a version of somewhat Batman and
no, like dude, so
and Hit Girl.
one of the things I love about Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie
Yeah.
is the way he plays Big Daddy is like he plays it like Adam West's version of Batman.
Like he does.
Like if you watch if you it's about his enunciation.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch go back and watch the 60s Batman show with Adam
Yeah.
West, there's a lot of him like pausing dramatically and talking in a weird voice like this, and then when he's in his Big Daddy performance wearing the costume, he starts talking like that.
Yeah.
He'll pause randomly and he'll be more dramatic. And like it doesn't make any sense in the Batman show. Like it does, but it does. Like it's weird. It's really cool to watch and think about it critically because actually breaking up your speech patterns and talking like that would totally help you change people's perception of who you are without needing to do the Batman voice.
Without needing to do the gravelly stuff.
Yeah, and like it's actually great because even in the 1960s Batman show, maybe I've talked about it before, but there's a moment in that show where Bruce Wayne and Batman have to talk on the phone to each other, and Commissioner Gordon puts the phones up to each other because Batman's on the phone with the Commissioner,
Yeah.
and then Commissioner Gordon's like, "Oh, I'll just call Bruce Wayne right now and put him on the line," and so you got Bruce Wayne in his house with these two phones, and the Commissioner being like, "Yeah, like I'll get you guys to talk to each other," and then Batman's just like, you should put the phones together and we can talk to each other. And he's like, that sounds great, Cape Crusader, and puts them together. And then like it's just this scene. I'll send it to you on YouTube, but it's hilarious of just like Adam West talking like Batman and then talking
Like
like Bruce
Bruce.
Wayne. And like there's such a subtle difference between them, but it's enough that there's actually like a lot of thought put behind that, especially at that campy time, that there would be subtle differences when he's Batman versus being Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And I love that because Nicolas Cage took that I don't think you know if he took that scene directly, but he took that enunciation and he put that into his Big Daddy characterization, and I freaking love it. It's such a subtle thing, but it's so good. And also, this movie was a lot more or a lot less depressing than the comic was.
Yeah, I never of it. Yeah, I didn't read. I did not read the comic, but
It's
um,
good, but the movie does it justice.
the movie. Yeah, like the movie. I thought the movie was really well done. Like again, we talked about all night characters, story, performances. Um, I like this movie because it had such a good balance between like hilarious, serious stuff and then like the real dark shit. You know what I mean? Like it was such a fun take on like the newly budding superhero genre that was at the time, and no, I really enjoyed it. Nicolas Cage though, like this has got to be his bread and butter, man. Like I don't know why he doesn't do more of these types of characters. Like Nicolas Cage works best right now as playing like that oddball kind of off character that's not overly serious, but like still important to the story. Big Daddy, or when he played like Spider-Man Noir in the Spider-Verse, right?
Oh, he was amazing.
Like exactly. When else have you said Nicolas Cage has been amazing in the last like 20 years? You know what I mean? It's been a long time. He used to be like any movie he was in used to be like money for me. I'd be like, yeah, Nicolas Cage is in it, must be a good film. All of a sudden, those films started getting really, really bad, really bad. Like he just started being part of really not great films. Um, but then he has movies like these where he's Big Daddy or he's Spider Man Noir, and you're like, that's your bread and butter, man. Like, you don't need to be like the lead, but you do such a great, like, side kind of off, strange, darker, twisted comedy type character. And I don't know why he doesn't find more of those types of jobs instead of like being in like really low budget, whatever class films because he's still Nicolas Cage. Like, obviously, his quality varies from time to time in very big ways, probably more than majority of actors, as far as quality of films he's in. Um, at least bigger name actors, but no, like I have to say, like he was amazing in this film. Like he was so much fun to watch. He was so enjoyable and like yeah, there's a lot of heart to that character.
Do you like the
Lots of
sequel?
heart. Yeah, I actually did. I didn't like it as much as the original. I thought the original was better, but the sequel kind of brought like the same like kind of ideas and the emotions and the tone of it. Um,
Like I thought they were both good for what they were. Like
yeah,
I thought that Kick Ass was a really good movie for, especially again as someone who read the comics. Like it was a solid adaptation and honestly improved on it in some
mm,
places. The sequel I felt was the best sequel you could get to that movie. Like I don't think they could have done anything to make it better,
I'd agree. Yeah,
right? So, but like overall, like I remember really liking that. I know me and Ben really loved loved Kick Ass when it came out because I think we both. I want to say we went and saw it in theaters.
well, it was just so much fun. Like it was a really fun movie, but also had moments where it just got real serious. And I think it's that blend.
It
Like
has
it
heart.
had, yeah, and it had like its tone is perfect for what it is, right? Like it's not trying to be something it's not. It knows what it is, and it bounces between the light, the comedic, the dark, like the heavy moments, like the heartfelt moments. Like it does it so effortlessly. Like a lot of films, if you're jumping between those things, sometimes one thing or the other feels forced or it doesn't work, or it feels out of tone to the rest of the film. Whereas this one, like it just, man, it all like it works. It works and it flows really, really well. I think that was actually my first movie too, where I saw Aaron Taylor Johnson, and he has actually been in a lot recently, and I thought he was like pretty good actor for a
He was
young
in
dude.
Godzilla and
Quicksilver,
Age of Ultron. Yeah,
but
which
like,
I'd love to see him come back as Quicksilver. I liked his version of Quicksilver.
dude,
Everyone says Evan Peters is better, but like honestly, I like them both.
honestly, man, well, they're two very different versions, right? Again, that's comparing like totally different things, other than they have speed powers, right? But Um, that was the one thing that like yeah that bugged me about Age of Ultron because like I don't know. Like him and Elizabeth Olsen are the only like now there's more Avengers, but at the time they were the only ones who did other that things than like punch in different ways. You know what I mean? Because like at the time Thor wasn't really like Thor. Like he isn't like he didn't have like tons of lightning like he has now, and he goes like full rage and he's like super badass, right? Like he was more like I hit people with a hammer. That was his thing most of the time. And like Iron Man hit people with his suit, and Cap hit people with the shield, and Hawkeye shot people with arrows, and Black Widow like kicked people in the face with her legs. But it was like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver actually had like these unique powers that made them unique on the team. So I thought it was like refreshing to have them. So when he died right away, I was like, come on, guys. Like he
Well, that's
just got here. I mean, I
I'm
guess technically he
curious.
also punches people just faster, but like it was
I'm
interesting visually
I'm
anyway.
still I'm still really curious to a point. I don't think they're gonna well with this WandaVision thing they might actually bring it back,
I heard that he
which
might be
I'm
back for that.
I'm on board. But like they set up a shot perfectly where they could have easily just reversed it and then CGI'd bullet wounds on where they have like that top down shot where it's Hawkeye and Quicksilver beside each
Yeah.
other. They could easily swap that at any point, so there could even be a whole thing where like Wanda maybe changes the universe and like makes it so Pedro survived and Hawkeye died.
Yeah.
But also, like on a whole side note, I personally loved that moment of Age of Ultron because they spent the entire movie building up that Hawkeye was gonna die.
Oh, totally. They pushed
They
it
spent
pretty
the
hard.
entire
Yeah.
like so hard that in any other movie Hawkeye would have died. So that moment where Quicksilver sacrifices himself and then has that line of "You didn't see that coming,"
Yeah.
that was a perfect cinematic moment to me. I love that moment to this day. I still think Age of Ultron is highly underrated. I think a lot of people hate it for no good reason other than it's like again I like it. I go back and I rewatch it and I
Like it's
enjoy
not the
it.
strongest Avengers movie, but when you're comparing them to the Avengers, it's a hard bar
Well,
to like get across, right? But like
and
it's
if you
not a
think about
bad
it,
film.
we've only had four Avengers movies.
Yeah, but they're all
So
pretty
like
high bars.
I mean,
So it's
arguably
not saying that much.
the weakest Avengers movie is Civil War.
Which is yeah, Avengers 2.5.
It should have just been Avengers, but that's a whole. I've already said that so many times. Um, no, but he's a good actor, and I'm trying to remember what else I've seen him in because I've seen him in quite a bit, and I like him quite a lot.
I just haven't seen him in anything recently, and I think that's just
Most recently, oh no, because he's been doing something. There was something I was. Sorry, I'm on his IMDb because I really loved you in IMDb.
it was great. It was actually
He was in Tenant.
okay. Didn't see that.
He's in a movie called Million Little Pieces, which I believe is an indie flick. I've seen it at work. Same thing with Nocturnal Animals. It looks like he's been doing a lot of smaller stuff. The movie called The Wall. I remember seeing the trailer for that. Um, right, and then he did Savages, which no one ever saw. Nowhere Boy is one I really want to see. Actually, it's about the Beatles.
Hmm.
That's really about it. Otherwise, it's a bunch of TV shows leading up to that. Oh, he was in The Illusionist as a younger character, but he was in Shanghai Nights apparently. But no, I've always liked him as an actor. He's just not been a lot. He's a year older than us too, Matt. So he's still doing more than
Good for
he
him.
might not be in things recently, but he's in more things than we are recently.
Oh, I'm not judging him. I'm just saying it's a shame I don't see him too much. Like I don't get to see him more because I think he is a good actor. And I think he just yeah. Like
He's English.
oh,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I don't know. But no, I think he deserves like some moments to grow and put out some more content too.
Because like he specifically wasn't the problem in Godzilla.
No,
How his
no,
character was handled
no.
and the writing was the problem. But he himself he was fine in Godzilla. He did a good job.
I would concur. But yeah, no, Kick Ass. I think overall was Very strong film. Great villain too. Mark Strong did a
Oh, Mark
fantastic
Strong does
job
great in
along with his
everything. He was good,
like
dude.
everything,
Mark
right?
Strong was
Yeah.
good in Green
Yeah.
Lantern. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
like when you think about all the good
If
things,
you can be good in Green Lantern, you're
when you think
pretty
about all the good
solid.
things in Green
Yeah.
Lantern, you're like, well, Ryan Reynolds was entertaining, and like, I mean, like at the end of the day, the cast was not the problem with that movie, but like
No.
Mark Strong killed it as Sinestro. Isn't he
Yeah.
also Moriarty in the Sherlock Holmes movies?
No.
Are you sure? I want to say he's.
No, he was the villain in the first one, I think, though. But Moriarty is what's that guy's name?
I honestly, it's
I can't
Sherlock
remember.
Holmes, so I just
Completely
assumed
different dude
Moriarty
though.
was the first villain.
Because Moriarty was like the second villain. Like Mark Strong was, I think, the villain of the first one, but it was like one of Moriarty's like henchmen or something like that.
Lord
Or
Blackwood.
like, yeah,
You can definitely tell that I didn't pay attention to those movies at all.
they weren't bad. The second one was pretty good
Honest,
actually. First one was like all right, but the
well, that's
second
the
one
thing.
was
The
pretty
first one
good.
kind of killed it for me. He was Merlin in Kingsman. And that's a completely different performance than like anything else that he does.
Yeah. Oh my god, man! Like even though Kingsman 2 wasn't like as good as
I
the
still haven't seen
original,
it yet.
like okay, never mind. I was gonna say something, but Mark Strong, he has a moment in that film that's like,
Oh, and then
god
he was
damn,
in
man, god
Doctor
damn.
Savannah and Shazam. He was phenomenal in.
Yeah,
He just
no, he's obviously very solid, very solid. I don't know. I don't know really what else to say about it. Like, it was just a fun film that had a lot of heart, and like, again, it bounced between all those different tones and feelings very effortlessly and well paced and just well done. Like, especially for like us in 2010, right? Like, that was great. We just got out of high school, and it's like this high school kid, becoming a like superhero, kind of quote unquote, a more real world based one. But no, it was fun. It's a fun film. But yeah, no, that's it for me. 2010. I thought pretty solid year. Again, honorable mentions: Book of Eli, Wolfman, Rebel Men, Hot Tub Time Machine, How to Train Your Dragon, Toy Story 3, Grown Ups, Despicable Me, The Other Guys, Red. But my best films: Unstoppable. Definitely go watch it if you haven't seen it. The Karate Kid, I think, is a little underrated, just in general, and Kick Ass. Wonderful, fun time that effortlessly bounces between great tones and just a fun little superhero flick. Nothing too serious, except for some moments I guess are pretty serious. But other than that, it's pretty good. Those are my picks for 2010.
hooray!
Ah, that was a full year though. Like really, like looking through that list, it was
Like
like, man, that's
it's
actually
stacked.
quite a few film like. And we say that almost every episode. I mean, I think there's been a few where we're like, no,
But
not a great year, or like
but this one,
one
the sheer
mixed.
amount of not like this one, the sheer amount of no crossover between the like there was hardly any crossover on our lists.
Yeah, not a lot, like just a few.
Like the fact that me and you had two very different movie going experiences in that year is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how 2009 goes.
Yeah, 2009 is going to be a complex one for me.
That'll be interesting. How many movies did we go see together? I don't know.
I don't think we saw a lot of them.
Also, 2009, that's the year Quantum of Snowflakes comes out, so maybe we should talk about that too.
That'll be the whole episode.
That's the best movie of 2009. None of you have seen it, but trust me, it was
No,
it was the best. It is the best.
Matt, what we do is we somehow find a way to upload it on to the computer, and we just do an audio commentary for it.
Oh man, that would be interesting.
I'd do it. I don't care. I'm down. That sounds like actually the more I said it out loud, and I'm like that actually sounds like it would be really
Sounds
fun.
like it'd be fun. Maybe. Maybe. All right, that's 2010. Let's move on to the surprise question. Ethan, what do you got for us, man?
Well, you know what? I'm curious about this now because I asked it at the beginning of the episode, and now I'm just curious about your take on it.
Favorite animal?
What is your favorite animal specifically though, either because or in fiction?
So like,
Like
what's my
remember how we were
favorite like
talking
fictional
like
animal that's not? It's a real animal, but like because of
like
its influence through fictional means.
remember how we were discussing like last episode about like food,
Okay, yeah,
which I think I think we're saving that for a different episode, right?
yeah.
So like think about that except for like in animation. Like what's an animal that you just find like that you're drawn to, that you like? Because again, like for me apparently it's ducks and I didn't realize that until recently.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's gotta be lions. Like, I love the mane, man. I love the mane. It's probably why I like
Like is there,
beards. Like, it just
aside from Lion King, is there like any other examples of like films or shows that you see them in, you're like, yeah.
no. I can't honestly like. I don't know. Lion King is super impactful for me. That's my problem, right? Like, I honestly can't think of like any animated animal other than Lion King and the impact that film had. That
Yeah, that's an answer though.
like
It's still
that
it's
that
still a
that
good
honestly
answer.
like really like strikes me. Maybe one day I'll walk down the street and have an epiphany. Oh man, it's getting too late. Epiphany that I love like ostriches or something. I don't know, but like off the top of my head, lions, and that's like Lion King was such an impactful film. Like watching it as a kiddo in the theaters, like just real young, and then having it home video, and then later on, like we took my daughter too when it came back to theaters there, and she was also really young. It actually scared her the first time. Then like
Yeah,
probably like a month later, Lion King was her favorite movie. You know what I mean? Like she got over, and then
how it
she's like, "This is
goes.
an amazing movie." Like, yeah, I told you it was amazing. Um, but yeah, like 'cause it was such an impactful film for me. I honestly can't think of any other animal that I'm like, damn. Like I guess in general, big cats, because like the tigers, like in Jungle Book or something, or panthers.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's like more the big cats in those kind of like Disney animated films that kind of work. I'm trying to think of like other types. Um, but I think if we're talking about like animals, I think it would have to go to like lions. Um,
Yeah, because
yeah.
like for me, other than ducks, apparently, again, I don't know why ducks. I don't know why, but like when I think about it critically, I also think either wolves or dinosaurs.
Oh
Like I
sure,
don't
like
know why, but
yeah, sure. Dinosaurs, like
like
Land Before
animated
Time and
animated
stuff.
wolves, animated wolves and animated dinosaurs always just super cool.
Yeah.
Like they look good no matter what your design is. They look awesome. Like I can agree with you with cats. Like even like I'm thinking of like Digimon that there are a couple like lion Digimon and stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah,
Like those
yeah,
are dope. Like I think actually one's called Leomon. I'm pretty sure.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's like a giant lion with a sword. I think he's actually pretty
Yeah. It's
badass. Yeah.
I need to go back and rewatch Digimon. Actually, that's been one I've been meaning to
Um,
rewatch.
but
They've
like,
apparently remade it.
yeah, if you're counting like dinosaurs and like dragons and shit, like obviously that, right? But like, if we're talking about like real animals.
Dinosaurs are real animals.
Yeah, but they they
Dumb.
they dead a long time ago. I mean,
Also, a
I
dodo isn't a real animal.
no, I mean like I thought you meant like just normal, like in comparison to your duck. Like I was like a lion. You know what I
That's
mean?
fair.
Like
The Duck and the Lion. There
Charizard.
you go.
Charizard.
There's an animated movie, The Duck and the Lion.
Oh, there you go.
They
Just
become
it's the
unsuspecting
sequel
friends.
to The Thief and the Cobbler.
Yes. Always anytime I think about that, I forget that cobbler's like someone who fixes shoes.
Yeah.
So I'm like I think Thief and the Cobbler, and is this guy who steals like a cobbler, like he steals like a pie basically, and it's like no, Ethan, you just
Like
really like dessert.
you just really enjoy dessert, bud.
I do. It's a dangerous game.
Oh man. No, fair enough. No, that's good. That's a good question of the day. Very simple.
And I already answered it, so I don't have to go
So
through
you
the
have to keep
details.
going again. So we just keep on moving along. So let us know, you guys, if you're still with us here. It's been,
It won't be
like it gets
Matt. It won't be 2 in the morning for them when they're listening to
no. By the
this.
time we always get to this point in the episode, it always it always starts to fall apart because it's like, oh shit, it's getting late, and then your mind
I
gets
mean,
all
not for me. I'm still doing great.
wonky. Yeah, but I'm older than you slightly by a little bit.
By an hour.
Not even, guy. Not even, bro. And then also sometimes I
What?
get revertigo when I get tired. I start reverting back to like my high school persona. Like, not even, bro. Like, yo.
How's that different than you are now?
I don't know. I feel like it's different. I feel like
Yeah,
anytime we
whatever,
do a
man.
podcast, I actually have vertigo. Like I think just I can't, like just right slip right back
It's
into
because you.
there. Yeah.
It's because you see my face and you're like, oh, that guy from high school. I guess I have to
I
act like
gotta
high
be
school
high
again.
school me. Ha 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 ha. In real life, I'm just real serious, old and grumpy. Brr, brr,
I just hate
brr.
everything and just like my
I'm
coffee.
brr. Give me some black coffee. Brr.
Why's it got to be black coffee, Matt?
Because I'm old and grumpy.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good reason. So my dad drinks it.
Yeah, there you go. Winning. Anyway, back on track because it's getting late. Not for you, for us. But your favorite 12, your favorite film of 2010. I was going to say 2012 too. Like, it's not even the right year, man. We're falling apart. Your favorite film of
Let's just wrap this up.
2010. Let us know down in the comment section below. And what's your favorite animated fictional animal or real life animal that inspired or your favorite because of fictional means, I guess. I had a weird ass
Mickey Mouse,
question.
Bugs Bunny, who's it gonna
Yeah,
be?
there you go. Charizard. Dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Dragons are real with fire on their tails. That's a thing.
it depends on if you catch their tails and can light it on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Besides, it's said that's yeah, yeah.
Well, that said, before Matt passes out right in
All
front of us,
that yeah,
guys.
all that said, come tune in, make sure you tune in next week because it is time for our Star Wars specials to come back. And we're doing Star Wars episode 4. So we're into the
We're finally at the
oh
good
my gosh,
stuff.
we're into the original trilogy and we're so excited. So it has felt like a while since we've done a Star Wars special. So we're very, very excited to get into that. That's next week. Make sure you join us then. Again, you can find our podcast not just on YouTube, but also on other podcast apps such as Google Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many, many others. Check us out there. Um, unless you want to watch on YouTube, then feel free. And if you're here on YouTube, well, you might as well subscribe because we got more excellent quality content like you're hearing right now. it's
Yeah.
just, it's amazing. Ethan, tell the good folks where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Ethan R. Hill, also on YouTube at Ethan R. Hill. And you can also find my movie Damned Rights at realhouse.org. Just search up Damned Rights, you will find it. You can buy or rent it there. Matt, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Storytellers, the number 4, capital L. I don't know if the capital part matters. Storytellers 4L. It stands for Storytellers for Life, which is my YouTube channel, which you can also find me over there. It's in under construction right now, so there's not actually content there, but you can go over there, subscribe, especially if you're into storytelling and learning about new techniques and tools and you want to get into that, whether you're talking about writing or speaking or, film stuff. We're just digging right into stories, looking at inspirational storytellers and the lessons they taught us. And yeah, just working on building community that can make each other better. So that's ultimately going to be the goal. Should be launching sometime, um, end of November, early December, probably. Looking at the timeline, but we'll see. We'll see. But head on over there, subscribe, and it's going to be a good time. Hope to see you over there. Other than that, that's it for us before I completely fall asleep or my words become mush. Uh, this has been a Feast of Films, episode 19, part 2. I'm Matt Black,
I'm Ethan R. Hill.
and we will see you guys later.
Have a good week, everybody.
So long.
Bye bye.
Toodaloo. Nailed it.
I think we did. We get those back. You say no. You say bye bye. Then I say so long. It's fine.
It
It's
doesn't matter.
fine.
We got it.